Another technique is to be able to work out the empirical formula. The empirical formula is simply the simplest formula that you can turn any of these compounds into. So for example, C2H4 can be divided by 2. So the empirical formula for ethene is CH2. Sugar, C6H12O6, can be divided by 6, which gives you CH2O. And aluminium oxide can be divided by 2, so it gives you Al2O3. So it's the simplest possible formula that you can have for your compound. You can work that out using a calculation as well, which will be the harder thing that you'll have to do in the exam. This is an example of a question that you could get in an exam. It will turn around and say calcium chloride is produced from reacting 10 grams of calcium with 17.8 grams of chlorine. Work out the formula, the empirical formula of calcium chloride. The first thing I would do is highlight or underline the key bits of information that we know. So we know we've got 10 grams of calcium and 17.8 grams of chlorine. The very first thing you need to do is put that information that you now know into a table. So start off with the mass that you know. We've got calcium and we've got chlorine. The second thing you need to do is write down the atomic mass of each of them. So in calcium's case 40 and in chlorine's 35.5. Relative atomic mass. Step 3, you need to divide the mass by the relative atomic mass. So it's 10 divided by 40 and 17.8 divided by 35.5. The third step is you've got these as a ratio now. Divide by the smallest number and that will give you whole numbers. So 0.525 divided by 0.25 and 0.5 divided by 0.25. You'll work out this will be 1 and this will be 2, telling you have 1 calcium and 2 chlorines. So your formula is CaCl2. So step 1, write down the masses known. Step 2, underneath that, write down the relative atomic masses. Step 3, divide the mass that you know by the relative atomic mass. And number 4, you divide all of them or both, depending on what the question is, by the smallest number. That will give you whole numbers and tell you how many of each element you have. Another question could well be 14.8 grams of lithium carbonate contains 2.4 grams of carbon, 9.6 grams of oxygen. And it might ask you to work out the empirical formula of lithium carbonate. What you need to first of all find out is how much lithium we have in the compound. So we know that we've got 14.8 grams in total, 9.6 of that is oxygen, 2.4 is carbon. So take both of those away and you get 2.8 grams of lithium. The next thing you do is exactly the same as you did before. Start off by writing down the masses. Then put down the relative atomic masses and divide them, which will give you step 3 and your ratios, which give you a ratio of 0.4, 0.2 and 0.6. So then all you have to do is divide by the smaller number, so divide each by 0.2. And that gives you your ratio for lithium carbonate, which in this case is 2 to 1 to 3. Therefore my formula for lithium carbonate is Li2CO3.